Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about why I think the Washington football team's offense will be much improved in 2021. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content, and also hit that like button. It helps out a ton. So let's get right into the video. Alright, so last year Washington's offense definitely wasn't their strength. If you look at the stats, at least yards per game, they were the third worst offense in all of football, and yet they still managed to win 7 games and win the division. Yes, 7 wins isn't great, but they finished off the year 5-2, and they weren't winning games because of their offense. So if their offense can take a big step this year, we're going to be a much better team, and I think they will take a big step. And you look at points per game, they were definitely a little bit better. Still not great, close to the bottom, but much better in points per game than they were yards per game. But I think they added a bunch of pieces this offseason, so we're going to talk about that. Also talk about Scott Turner in his second year. But first, let's talk about the quarterback position. And I know not everyone is a Ryan Fitzpatrick fan, but I think we can all agree that Ryan Fitzpatrick is better than the collective quarterback play we got last year. I mean, we got like 6 or 7 games of Dwayne Haskins. We got Kyle Allen for a bit. He wasn't awful, but he wasn't great. And then we got Alex Smith for, 6-7 games. And he was good at times. He was good in that Lions game and good in that Steelers game. But, he played that first half against the 49ers, was playing hurt, was not playing well at all. And in the Philly game, didn't play great as well. So, our quarterback play was 32nd last year in QBR. It was like the worst in the league by far. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, at least by QBR, was 5th last season. And I know QBR isn't everything, but he had a solid year last year. And if you look at his last 16 games, he has thrown for 4,414 yards with 27 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. So yes, he has not done that over a full season, but in his last 16 games, those are his stats, and those are pretty good stats. So if he can do 4,200 yards, 27 touchdowns, and like 15, 16 picks, I think we will be much, much better. Because considering what we got last year out of Haskins, Allen, and Smith, I think Fitzpatrick is a big upgrade. And if you're going to say, and I don't necessarily agree with this, if you're going to say, oh, Fitzpatrick is going to turn into Fitzpatrick or Fitztragic for like 6 games and he's going to ruin us. Well, if that happens, we can put in Taylor Heinicke or Kyle Allen and it'll still be much better than the quarterback play we had last year. I think Fitzpatrick is going to be solid. This is probably one of his best situations he's had in a while. A good wide receiving core, good running back core, good offensive line, tight end group, solid. You got a good number 1, and the depth isn't great, but it's getting there. So he has a good offense around him. It's up to him to put it all together, and I think he will be able to. I'm excited to see what he can do. I don't think the new offensive system for him should be too much of an adjustment because he's played in so many different offensive schemes. He's also worked with our quarterback coach, Ken Zampese, so he has some familiarity there as well. So excited to see what he can do. I think it'll be a big upgrade over what we got last year. The second reason why I think we're going to make a big jump, it is year 2 of Scott Turner. And some people like Scott Turner last year and some people didn't. But you can all agree that Dwayne Haskins was not his quarterback, and the offense was very, very limited when Haskins was in. And Scott Turner just really wasn't able to show what he wanted to do on offense. And I felt on the games where he had Kyle Allen or Alex Smith before he got hurt again, like in that Steelers game, in that Lions game, I felt like he did a pretty good job, made some good adjustments, still has to work on that first drive of the game. We only scored once, and it was our last game of the season, so we gotta be able to do that. That's something that Scott Turner really needs to improve on this season, but I'm excited to see what he can do with his quarterback. I know it's not a quarterback of the future, but I definitely think that he had a say in, signing Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm sure Ron Rivera consulted with him, asked him, out of these guys, who do you like the most? And probably Scott Turner probably gave him a couple names, and Ryan Fitzpatrick was one of them. So I'm excited to see what Scott Turner can do in year 2. This is his second year of being a full-time offensive coordinator. So just like a player, that year 1 to year 2 jump is usually big. So let's see what he can do. I liked what he was doing in that second half of last season. So another reason why I think this team will be, or this offense will be much better, is we added some weapons, especially opposite of Terry McLaurin. We, added in Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown, Adam Humphreys. I think Logan Thomas might take another step because last year, again, was his first year as a starting tight end in the National Football League. I think Antonio Gibson will take a big, make a big jump. You look at Curtis Samuel, though, last year he had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, which is great. I think he's 24 years old. But look at this, and I've talked about this every time I talk about Curtis Samuel. Look at his improvement every single year. 115 yards to 494, 494 to 627, 627 to 851. Every year is a massive improvement for him. If you look at the rushing yards, it's improving every single year as well. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case in Washington because I don't see him getting 41 carries, but he might get like 25, 30 this season, get a couple a game. I'm really excited to see what he can do. I think he's going to add a lot to this offense. He's a good separator. Great after the catch, great speed. I think he's a 4.3 guy, so he's going to add some speed to this offense. And also, he's going to take, some pressure off of Terry McLaurin. Teams aren't necessarily going to just be able to double Terry every single snap because you'll have Curtis Samuel either on the in the slot or on the outside. So, and we added Adam Humphreys, who, I know isn't necessarily a splashy move, but he's familiar with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he's a, solid veteran and can come in and, be a good slot receiver for us when we do need him. I do definitely like that signing by the Washington football team. I think De'Ami Brown, another good another good draft pick. I think he's going to add a lot to this offense. Maybe not early on. I'm not sure if they want him to start, but I think at some point this year, he's going to make a big impact. And I think, for years to come, he will be a great receiver in the National Football League. I mean, I think we have a little bit of everything with this wide receiving core, and De'Ami Brown, adds that deep threat that we really need. Terry is a solid deep threat, but I think De'Ami Brown, that's what he really, really does. So I think, the weapons we added on offense will really help, along with, the jumps I expect, the big steps I expect these players like Antonio Gibson to take. I mean, he barely knew how to play. He didn't know how to play the position of running back early on in the season. He even admitted it himself, and he got better and better and better as the season went on. Unfortunate toe injury. We'll see how that situation goes and unfolds. But I liked how he ended the year off, the last few games before he got hurt, and I think he's going to take a big step this year. I think he's going to, get a little bit better at running the football and, seeing the lanes. But what I really think is going to get better this year is his pass catching. I think they're going to involve him a little bit more, and that is going to be really, really nice to see. The last thing is we do have depth now. Our depth wasn't terrible last year, but on the offensive line, got Leno, Cosme, Cornelius Lucas, at those tackle positions. And then at guard, you have Sadiq Charles, who can play, both guard and tackle. You have Chase Roulier at center. You got Wes Schweitzer, Eric Flowers, Brandon Sheriff, and more at the guard position. You got a bunch of guys that, could start for you if someone gets hurt, which I really, really like. I think our offensive line is going to be good this year. It was solid last year, and that was with, starting off the season with Wes Martin and Jerron Christian as our starters. So I think this year not having those guys start early on and be able to build some good chemistry is going to help this offensive line, and also having some good depth. So if some guys go down, Cornelius Lucas got injured a couple of times last season. If he goes down, we have Cosme, or the opposite, if Cosme's starting and he goes down, we have Cornelius Lucas. So I like the depth that we have, really at all positions, especially on the, offensive line. And there's a lot of places on the defensive side. I know we're not necessarily talking about defense, but on the defensive side that we have depth as well. So, those are kind of the main reasons. I think there's no reason the Washington football team shouldn't be a much improved offense, at least middle of the pack. Which would be a huge improvement, but maybe even a little bit higher than that. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about our offense heading into 2021. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss a video. Peace.